Mike Shingange, Nehao's first Deputy President, and Dennis George, Producers General Secretary, join me in studio now. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Let's start with Nehao. You've said that you are shocked and unhappy over Eskom being bailed out by the PIC. Why is this?
Good afternoon, thank you very much. Look, we have reached this point where nothing can really be done about the workers' money without workers being concerned. We can no longer have a situation where the primary depositors of the investment that is done by the PIC are not being consulted when decision has been taken. We are currently in a situation where the workers in the public service are demanding that the PIC must intervene in the government employees housing schemes there, that they must invest there and they must assist workers to get their bailout. But day in and day out, some state-owned institutions which are poorly run, poorly managed, poorly governed are being bailed out by our own money. So we think that we can no longer stand by and make it as a business as usual when our money is being used without our consultation.
Okay. As producer, you've previously said that you will reconsider the investment mandate that the Government Employees Pension Fund has with the PIC. Does this latest news of this bailout change your mind in any way or make you even more convinced that you need to reconsider this?
Yeah, look, I mean, the PIC is overexposed in Eskom. And secondly, Eskom should also, not Eskom, should also the money that has been given to them, spend that money wisely under good corporate governance. We know they've got a new board and a new CEO. So clearly there's a change from government side. But we also want to see that the PIC should use the money to make the things easier and better for the public servants themselves. Many of our public servants can't afford to live into a house. You know, they can't afford these things. And that money should also be used to make things better for nurses, for doctors, for teachers, so that they can get a loan from the PIC so that they can also have their own accommodation. So we can't just put money into Eskom, but we must diversify the things, and our members will then also pay the money back. I mean, for us, the big concern is if Eskom is going to be able to pay the money back. Even though this investment of 5 billion is only a bridging finance for 30 days, you know, we know that the looting and the corruption that took place in Eskom has caused serious damage to the credibility of Eskom. And a lot of people know in South Africa, Eskom is an important company. And that's the reason why we also welcome the new board. But I think we need to make sure that we stop corruption and make sure that the things that gone wrong in Eskom has been brought to a halt.
When this Eskom PIC story came out, Nehao issued a statement saying that you're not happy because until all the tentacles of corruption have been cut off, you don't want any money from the PIC going there. But we're hearing about this new board. There was an intervention by Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa alongside Minister Lynn Brown. Does this not give you some comfort that there are things happening and there are checks and balances in place to stop what has been going on before?
Look, it's still too early for us to conclude that every footprint of the Gupta influence has been rooted out at Eskom. As recently you have seen that the host has just confirmed that they've been raiding the offices, and there's an allegation that some documents might have been shredded off, which constitute a defeat of the ends of justice. So our view is that we don't want to pump in money there in an institution that has not yet been cleaned up completely. You remember, if you are going to say that we have completely rooted out every suspicious behavior in Eskom, the Minister of Public Enterprises, that is Lynn Brown herself, has to go. Until we get that matter resolved, as long as she's still in charge of the public enterprise and still having a say on what happens in port, we can never be comfortable with our money going there so soon. They've not, we don't want to cast aspersion about the capabilities and credibility of the port members, but we think it's too early for us to start jumping hallelujah that everything is fine. But all we are saying is that government says they're guaranteed. Remember, currently, Eskom is owing PIC more than 100 billion. They are not able to pay that. Now we're having a 5 billion that we're giving them. We're saying the state is guaranteed that it is guaranteed a loan. The state has no money. The state have just indicated that they've got a 50 billion deficit in their budget in terms of revenue collection. So how can someone who does not have money guarantee anything? So it is our problem whether the money of workers will be able to finally be paid back to PIC so that when the time when workers retire, they will find their money there. Remember, every other state institution has been bankrupted by the Guptas, have been looted that had been collapsed. PIC was almost the only one institution standing. That is why, having finished money everywhere else, they think they must now run to Eskom to bail everybody else.
Okay, I understand the problems when it comes to managing of money, the problems with things that have happened previously. Fitch placed Eskom on a rating watch negative. With this money that's coming in and with the new board, is there not a sense that there's going to be a smoothing of the waters and easing of the liquidity crisis and maybe more stability in Eskom, which is very important to all of us as South Africans?
Yeah, look, from our side, we support the call of Nehawu that Lynn Brown must go. You know, she is one of the main agents of protecting people. I think we support the effort of the current chairperson and the CEO to say that they want to dive deep so that they can make sure that they do the lifestyle audits of these senior managers. You know, when you do a lifestyle audit of somebody, you can see, if I earn 10,000 Rand, how can I drive with the BMW X6? You see, and how can I stay in Sandton, but I earn that money? So those people must be brought to book. That's number one. Number two, I want to reiterate, the PIC should diversify its investment portfolio. There is an investment opportunity, there's a need among public servants. Those people need houses. We can borrow their money on prime, let them build decent houses for them. That will create jobs and that will stimulate the economy. That is what we are calling for, and that will be in the best interest because a public servant will get his money. The money for the house will be deducted from the salary because we want to uplift our people out of poverty and give them a decent life for all.
Let's come back to this issue of the GPF. It has the defined benefit pension fund. So the members are entitled to their benefits regardless of the performance of the PIC in managing their funds. So I'm trying to understand the nervousness that you've expressed, and I understand the factors that contribute to that. But if as a worker, my pension, I know I'm going to get all my benefits regardless of what happens with the PIC, why is there this furor, especially over Eskom and PIC?
Look, we are saying currently the main depositors of the government employee pension funds, which gave birth to PIC, or on which we have the PIC invest the money, are currently indebted. They need the money. They could benefit from the interest that all the malls that are being built, all the investment that PIC is doing with the money of the workers. The only place that the PIC is not investing is in the public servants themselves, the ones who actually generate the money. And we are saying you have got about 1.3 million workers in this country who could benefit a lot by being alleviated of the poverty and the debts that they are in now. Those old media houses that are being built through PIC, those malls that are being built through PIC, those SAAs, those Eskom, they don't benefit directly to the workers. So that's all we're saying. And you were saying, you remember that in the recent past, there was even an attempt to muzzle out the CEO of PIC because they wanted to put that golden boy there whom they trust so much that he can bankrupt and he can steal public money in the name of Brian Mall. If we didn't stand up and fight, possible PIC will not be where it is today. So we cannot keep quiet. But the fact that we're emphasizing is that for us to be assured and be able to say to the workers, indeed, your money is safe, we even go a step further, we need to be represented in the boards, both of the PIC and the GPF, that when these decisions are made, of interim, when decisions are made, workers should be consulted. We should know, we should be taken into confidence to say, okay, we do think that Eskom is in danger, we do think that the economy of South Africa is going to be in trouble if not built out, but this is your money, we want to get your buy-in, we want to tell you this is how we're going to pay back the money. For now, we are in the dark. All we see is that we're going to go the way of SAA, we're going to go the way of Transnet, we're going to go the way of PRASA, everywhere. So we can't afford but to be restless when this thing is happening.
Mike Shingange and Dennis George, thanks so much for your time on SABC News.